With me today, I told you we'd give you an 11 a.m. update, and here we are. So I'm going to outline for the next few minutes exactly what we know at this point in the investigation. As I always say, when we release information to you quickly, it's certainly subject to modification. You already know that our suspect is Stanley Eric Mossberg. He's 35 years of age. He's from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Stanley, without a doubt, is a spree killer. We know that he's killed one person in Greenville, Tennessee, and he's killed two people in Winter Haven, Florida. And I'm going to go back and do a chronology, the best that we have it put together after just a few hours from the event beginning and us working through the night without any sleep to get this chronology the best we know right now. Let me take you back to Greenville, Greenville, Tennessee, October 1st, about 11 o'clock at night. There is a man there that is doing the laundry. He's all by himself in the laundromat. When the video in the laundromat shows that a white male walks in all alone, pulls a gun, and forces our Tennessee victim into a bathroom. About 4 minutes later, the Tennessee victim comes out of the bathroom, followed by our suspect, Mossberg, who's holding a gun on him. He's bound. His hands and arms are bound against his body, as it's described to us. The suspect then picks up the victim's cell phone and follows the victim out of the front of the laundromat and out of view. About 2 o'clock in the morning, the victim's wife becomes concerned because her husband's not home from the laundromat, so she tries to text him. She gets a phone text back from her husband's cell phone that is a very vile, ugly, nasty text, leading her to believe, according to the text, that he's out with a girlfriend. The wife says, that ain't happening, and she immediately dials 911. The Greenville police go to the laundromat because the wife says, I know my husband, he didn't do that, he's not doing that, and she was exactly right. They go there, look around, they don't see anything, but at that point in time, the victim's car is gone. Underscore the fact that it's a stolen vehicle, and I'll wrap back around to that in a minute. So they don't see anything. The Greenville police leave. About 7 o'clock the next morning, which is now October 2nd, customers are starting to come into the laundromat. It's warm in the laundromat, so they open the back door or they go out back, and what do they find? But they find this man, this husband, in a pool of blood, dead. Of course, during this time, they begin to look for the victim's car, which has been reported stolen. It is a Buick LeSabre. The suspect has stolen the victim's car, killed the victim, and is now driving to Spartanburg, South Carolina. That's where he's from, and he's well known by the police in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So on October 4th, the Spartanburg police locate the suspect on some videotape while they're assisting Tennessee, and they see the suspect in the Spartanburg area. They subsequently, on October 5th, find the victim, the Tennessee victim's car, at a scrapyard. Now let me back up. On October 2nd, the sister to the suspect buys him a ticket because he says he wants to go to Orlando, Florida. So follow me. He is driven from Tennessee back home to Spartanburg. Even though the car is not discovered until the 5th, the sister buys him a ticket to Orlando because that's where the suspect wants to go. So Mossberg wants to go, who is our suspect, wants to go to Orlando, and we, at this point in the investigation, have no idea why he wanted to go to Orlando. But she buys him a Greyhound bus ticket, takes him to Atlanta, Georgia, where he gets on a bus and comes to Orlando, Florida. So from October 2nd to now we're at October the 11th, when we start getting information that, hey, a murder suspect by the name of Mossberg has pawned property at a pawn shop in Auburndale, Florida. So the marshals are helping the Greenville police. We start getting broadcasts to look out for our suspect Mossberg, who's wanted for a murder, and he has apparently arrived here. We don't know where he's been between October 2nd and the 11th until last night, when we find out that on October 9th, he has stolen a truck, a black F-250 dually truck from Seffner, Florida. So let me back up. He's gone from Tennessee to Spartanburg to Atlanta, where he gets on a bus, comes to Orlando. We don't know how he gets from Orlando back through Polk County to Seffner and Hillsborough County, but he steals a black Ford F-250 dually. October 13th, at about 4 in the afternoon, the suspect is seen on Ring video on 16th Street Northeast in Winter Haven. Ring video notifies the owner that someone's prowling around in your yard. The owner goes out, confronts him, says, "Get out of here." And the guy leaves. That residence is contiguous to our victim's residence. So the suspects run off of the property at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on October 13th, which is a Sunday. Now it's 10:30 p.m. on October 13th, when I'm going to refer to 3 victims. Our live victim arrives home. When our live victim arrives home, he hears our female victim number 2 say, "Just do what he says and he won't hurt you." So the first he knows there's problems, our live victim knows there's problems, is when he walks into his home, and he lives there with 2 friends, a male and a female. And he sees the victim, female victim, bound in a chair. The suspect Mossberg approaches our live victim and says, "I have guns and knives, and I'll kill you if you resist me." The suspect begins to take our live victim through the house, and that's when he sees the female tied to a chair with her hands behind her back. Our suspect Mossberg tells the live victim, "Don't look in the master bedroom. You won't like what you see in there." He takes our live victim into, if you will, kind of an office where there's a small safe, there's computers, and he begins to rip the cords out of the computers, and now he's tying our live victim into a chair. He demands money and valuables. They give him the combination to the safe. There's very little in there other than important papers such as passports. Now we're into a period of hours where the suspect is now threatening our live victim. I know you have more. I know you have more. The victim's saying, we don't have any more. Then during this conversation, our suspect Mossberg says that victim 1, who is the male in the master bedroom, tried to fight back. So I made him suffer before I killed him. The suspect stays, Mossberg stays at the residence all night long. A period of time later, through the night, understanding that our victim's elderly and sick and on medicine, our live victim, the suspect comes back to the live victim and says that he's killed our female victim, number 2. But he did it quick because she was cooperative. He knows how to kill people quick. He has slashed and murdered both of these victims. He slashed and murdered the victim in Tennessee with knives. Then our suspect Mossberg poured bleach on our victims, got a mop bucket, put a solution together, and started cleaning up the residence, mopping the floors. Sunrise occurs. Our live victim is still totally cooperating, is trying to do everything he can not to excite this obvious, evil, murdering person. So the suspect unties the victim and allows him to sit on the porch. I'm sat in the living room. Our suspect describes that he is panicked beyond all description, as you can imagine. He tells our live victim, tells suspect Mossberg, can you turn the air conditioner up? I'm freezing to death. He says, nope, I turned the air conditioner down. I need to keep it cool so that these victims don't start to smell. He stays there all through the morning, loading up stolen property into our victim number 2, our female victim's car. At about noon, 12 to 1 o'clock, he said he's going to leave. I'll be back for the bodies, but I'm leaving. If you call the cops, I'll kill you. Our victim, our live victim, says, I'm afraid he's just outside or hiding around the corner. This person, they understand, is evil in the flesh. So he stays on the couch from about 12 to 1 o'clock through the afternoon. At about 6 p.m., he breaks and runs to the neighbor's house and dials 911. When he dials 911, of course, we respond and we determine what's another stolen vehicle. So we're now at 3 stolen vehicles. So, but he's stolen the vehicle and he's left. That's when our live victim tells us that he walked into the house and the lineage of what occurred. So our deputies are there, and Captain Horseman, who is in charge of that district, is in his patrol car riding the perimeter because we're looking for the suspect. We're trying to tend to our live victim and do the best we can for our dead victims. We've got broadcast and bolos out. Everyone's there. The command staff is there because it's clear we have a spree killer. We're all there. The captain said, found victim two's, our female victim's car. It is like less than 2 blocks, block and a half from the murder scene. Did you hear me? The guy drove back within a block and a half of the murder scene, and there are 50 deputies if there's one in the area. I walked over there thinking that the captain had just discovered the vehicle. He said, that vehicle there, the victim's vehicle, wasn't there 2 minutes ago because I just made the block. I went up, put my hand in front of the grill thinking, you know, certainly this car had to be here. No, it was just parked there exactly as the captain said. We don't know how many lives the captain might have saved by finding that vehicle that quickly, because obviously we set up a perimeter. And where is our black F-250 dually? It's behind the gate, spray painted with cans of white paint. The perimeter is set. We have 4 deputies and detectives that try to go in the house and clear the house. We found witnesses, people that live in the house. They're outside. They're cooperating with us. And as we go through and clear the house, because they said the suspect ran through the backyard, they come to a locked door. They try to kick the door open. It's dead bolted. As soon as they kicked it, they were shot at twice. They said, we didn't see the bullets come through the door, but we clearly were the victim of an attempted murder. We repositioned around the house, called in SWAT, introduced chemical agent, ended up poking holes in the residence with our MRAP to introduce more chemicals. Obviously, we're trying to talk to him through the night. We're trying to hell him on our equipment through the night. And all we receive in response is to be shot at again. We don't have the exact total number of rounds that was shot at our deputies, but it's going to be someplace around 7 or 8, and we'll get you an exact. So the MRAP gets there with what we call the doorbell, which is a long piece of metal. We knock down the garage door. We can see into the garage, and there's a pool table. Our suspect is underneath the pool table. When we attempt to lift the pool table up, it breaks and falls down. We send K-9 in because we think we saw an arm. K-9 goes in, engages our suspect. The suspect reaches down and grabs the dog. With both hands, we can clearly see he doesn't have a gun in his hand. Our SWAT team members, at great risk, along with our K-9, secure him, arrest him, and subsequently we take him to Winter Haven Hospital, where he receives treatment for his dog bites. And he's now currently in the Special Operations Center here being processed before we transfer him to the county jail on the warrant from Greenville, Tennessee, and also 2 counts of first-degree murder for our 2 victims here in Winter Haven, as well as our attempted murder charges against our deputies. Our deputies put their life at extreme risk last night to protect the community. I'm exceptionally proud of them once again, as I am every day, because of the quick work of our deputies and the fact that for whatever reason, instead of fleeing, we anticipated he would take this stolen vehicle and flee to South Carolina. He didn't. He came back and then said that he wanted to engage. Through the evening, as we talked to our live victim, he said, oh, by the way, this guy said he wants to be a serial killer. Suspect Mossberg, did you hear me? Suspect Mossberg told our live victim, I want to be a serial killer. I like killing people. And he said, our suspect said, Mossberg said, the 2 victims in Winter Haven were 7 and 8, but his goal was to kill 11. Now, quite frankly, we have not found 2 through 6, nor do we know if they exist at all. The question is, if you have a murder in your jurisdiction and possibly a stolen vehicle that's missing, let us know. So why do I keep referring back to stolen vehicles? This guy has a proclivity and a history of stealing vehicles. Now, once again, I'm not going to let the people who try to tell us that low-level, nonviolent offenders shouldn't be locked up and we're too tough on them. The overwhelming majority of the more than 30 charges, do you hear me? 30 charges against Stanley Eric Mossberg, known as Woo Woo, are nonviolent charges, or as our friends who want criminals to prey on your communities and in your homes, in your neighborhoods, low-level, nonviolent events. He just likes to steal cars and steal and use drugs. Okay? Oh, by the way, he's a spree killer, but hey, let's don't concern ourselves with that. So here's another message. Here's your sign, legislators. When you start talking to me about low-level, nonviolent crimes, gag me with a spoon. That's BS. And if you buy into it, shame on you. This guy, to our knowledge, prior to Greenville, was what some want to say is a low-level, majority of his crimes were low-level, nonviolent crimes. This is a spree killer. This is a man that said he enjoys killing. When you kill people with a knife, it's up close, it's personal, it's based in anger, revenge, evil. He didn't shoot him from a distance. He was in stabbing and cutting, and all of the victims that we're aware of had multiple cut wounds as a result of this evil person. Make no mistake about it, you can't legislate evil out of society. This guy needs the death penalty if there's ever been a person that needs the death penalty. But at the end of the day, we have wonderful people. A man trying to do laundry in Tennessee is dead for no other reason than he's in a laundromat doing the week's laundry. We have a man and a woman murdered in their home on Sunday night by this despicable human being. You know what they were doing? What people do on Sunday night at home in a working class neighborhood wonderful, decent people are now victims of this evil, this absolutely evil person. The one some want to call low-level, nonviolent offender. The investigation's ongoing. We hope and pray there are no more victims, that he's just bragging. We know that he killed 3 over 2 states, and certainly he has the proclivity to have killed others. Questions?
Does he came here from Orlando. He came here to Orlando from Atlanta.
Yes.
From Spartanburg. Does he have any connections to this area that we know of?
Not that we've been able to establish at this point in time. At this point in time, he stayed with the people in the house who ended up being our witnesses. I don't know where they met. They did not know him previously. He just needed a place to crash. And to check their veracity, we said, well, was he here last night? Oh, no, he wasn't here last night, but he was here the night before. Well, the reason he wasn't there last night is because he was in the victim's house. But he, for whatever reason, we have not even established that he knew anybody in Orlando. But Orlando, and we don't know how he got from Orlando to Seffner in Hillsborough County, but we do know that he broke into a used vehicle lot to steal the vehicle that got him over here to where he pawned the property in Auburndale before he killed the people in Winter Haven.
Sheriff, he's talking to detectives, correct?
We're attempting to interview him at this time. I don't know if he's talking or not.
He told the people that he was staying with that he just got out of prison. Do we know that he had spent time in jail for another murder charge?
I don't know that he told people that he just got out of prison.
I spoke to the woman whose house that he was in, and she said that he just got out of prison for being there for 8-9 years.
I have no idea at this point. Understand, this all started last night, and we were involved in a manhunt. Your colleagues were there. You know what I told your colleagues last night after they did their 11 o'clock stand-up? Get in your truck and leave, because we didn't know where he was. But we knew that we had all of his vehicles, and we knew he liked to steal vehicles, and we knew he liked to kill people. And the last thing I wanted is for him to take one of your vehicles, kill you, and say, I got a camera, I can video this if I want. So I don't know about that. That's investigation that will happen in the next few days, because we have been in a full court press to, one, find him, when we found him, then to safely get him into custody, and now we'll do all the background.
So he ended up stealing 3 vehicles in total?
That were F-250, our victim's vehicle, and the Buick LeSabre out of Greenville that we know of. That's just what we know of. There's a lot we don't know at this point in the investigation. Okay? Thank you all very much. Have a good day.